Ontario, I guess officially, says it has an 18 billion plus deficit right now.
Yeah.
You think it's closer to 20 when it's all factored in. Is there any way you can balance that budget 5, 6, 7 years down the road, whenever, if you don't do this?
No, because the retail sales tax will always hold back the province, and it will continue to drain revenues. So it's not a solid base for going into the future.
So you need this tax change in order to balance those books?
Oh, absolutely, and you need some of the aspects that come with it as well. We talked about, we right now have a 14% provincial corporate income tax rate. All the other provinces are heading towards 10. There will not be any corporate income booked in Ontario in that kind of situation. So it has to come as a package. We've got an extremely onerous capital tax, which has been phased out as well. All that income is going to bleed out of Ontario as well. So you need it on the revenue side, but to me, the revenue side is important in the budget, but it's all about jobs. I mean, what do we need to do in Ontario to ensure there'll be growth in jobs going forward? And we have to be competitive, and that has to be part of the package deal, and this is a key part of it.
Yeah, sir. Why don't you guys pitch this more as a deficit reduction operation as opposed to tax shifting and that kind of thing?
Well, no, this is about growing the economy, Steve. That's what it is about. It is to make sure that our businesses do better, that they create jobs, because when businesses make money, they pay more corporate taxes. When they create jobs, people have good paying wages, they pay more income taxes. And yes, and that will help to ensure that we do continue to have quality public health care and education and social services in this province. But we need to make sure that the fundamentals are right, that we need to make sure that our businesses are stronger, and then there's growth, that they are successful in their enterprise by hiring more people. I think there's no secret here, there's no cynical plot here. That's the simplest formula. So let's change our tax structure, which, by the way, liberals and conservatives alike in this country agree that this is good public policy. I think we're talking mostly politics here, which we know is always partisan in nature. But from a public policy point of view, this is the right approach to make sure that Ontario manufacturing gets back at a global competitive level.
Let me ask deficits. I want to ask Michael Prue about deficits. If we're at an $18+ billion deficit right now, and Don Drummond is saying if you don't implement this tax package, you simply won't have the revenues going forward to begin to address that. How do you address that deficit?
You do it the same way governments have done it since the beginning. You start looking at where you have to where you can spend smarter. E-health is not something that they've done a good job of. There is going to be, as the days unfold, you're going to see more and more groups like e-health and OLG and all the others who have wasted government funds. You've got to start with that. The second thing, you've got to encourage people to think about the taxes and what those taxes buy, so that people want to pay, so that they want to pay some more, so that they understand it's for schools and hospitals, and businesses have to be made to pay as well. I mean, this whole thing is a transfer so business can pay less tax, so the consumers can pay more. That's the way I see it. That's the way the consumers see it. That's the way the consumers see it too.
With respect, I'd have to disagree strenuously, because if I'm a small business person.
Small business don't see any benefit to this.
No, I'm a small business person.
CFIB, 58% said they don't see anything.
Please. Len, what is your business?
I own a small winery in Niagara.
Okay. How would this improve your life?
Well, it would improve my life because now I only have one set of auditors that are coming to look at my books.
Rather than two.
Rather than two. And for a small owner-operator, this is very, very significant. It's a lot of red tape out the window, number one. Number two, I believe that it's really, really important to get at this notion that somehow business isn't going to pass on the savings.
Now, Don's already said they will. We understand that.
I think it's a market economy. Why would I not want to pass on the savings if I can compete with the guy next door?
Don?
Let's just suppose the hypothesis you do want and you need to raise additional revenues. It's not mine, but let's look at it as a hypothesis. The irony here is you come back to harmonization, because where do you get the additional revenue? From corporate taxes? Well, we've already got 14. Everybody else is going to 10. So you're handicapped in moving that. Personal income tax? Well, anybody in Ontario earning up to $60,000 already pays over 60% of their last dollar earned in personal income taxes. Lower income people pay even more than that. I don't think you can move on personal income taxes either. Where can you move? Actually, it comes back on sales tax. If you wanted to raise additional revenues, the only vehicle you've got is sales tax, and you can't do it on the retail sales tax because it comes back and hammers your competitiveness.
Lisa, there is an argument about broadening the base and thereby bringing more revenues in to deal with that deficit. Which
Sure, so that revenue equals tax grab on the backs of granny, soccer mom,
Okay, but how are you
and
gonna lower the
taxpayer. Well, the reality is this province used to have balanced budgets.
No, how would you lower the deficit
and
going
then,
forward?
And then what you've looked at is a government that spend from $67
Lisa,
billion
Lisa, we got a minute and a half to
year
go, and I'm not going to let you kill the clock.
to $100 billion present day.
How
They're
would you lower
growing
the deficit
spending.
without this?
You're going to have to look, as Michael said, at cutting waste and looking at ways we can reduce spending on the public purse.
That going to find you $18 billion a
well,
year?
we're going to have to start somewhere because this group that's been in power for the last 6 years has dug us a pretty deep hole. And I really reject the notion it's got to be taxpayers in this province who are going to have to get us out of Mr. McGinty's mess.
Okay, Aaron, I got 30 seconds.
Sure, let me tell you how I'd balance the budget. I wouldn't be slashing Ontario's corporate income tax rate from 14% down to 10%. That alone is going to cost more money than the harmonized sales tax will bring in. I mean, the government can't have this both ways. It can't say it needs the HST to balance the budget on the one hand, but that it's going to be this sort of revenue neutral thing to finance other tax breaks on the other hand.